Happy New Year, Virgo. So this Virgo is for all sun sign Virgos or ascendant Virgos. We're going to have a look at your astrology first, where the planets are positioned for the year ahead, and also then I'm going to do some tarot readings. So this new year is the astrological new year, where the sun's moved into 0 degrees Aries, and it relates to, it sets off the cycle for the year ahead. So this is looking at April to April next year. So Virgo, you have the South Node, which has been in Virgo for a period of time now, and with that you have that opposite Mercury. So your first sector has been influenced by that South Node. The South Node has a lot to do with where you've been, and so this could have been a bit of a nostalgic time over the last year where you've had the opportunity to really think about past situations, especially to do with friendships and connections, but also about where you've been, what you're wanting, and where you are going. Now that opposes, your first sector opposes the seventh sector of relationships, and in your seventh sector we have Mercury node and Mars combination. The Mercury node Mars combination in Pisces. And so with that opposite, with that Mercury influence within that first and seventh, this is a really good time for relationships. Excuse me. Relationships, connections, friendships. In fact, your friendship sectors are really activated with your first, seventh, and then your 11th house. And when I say friendships, it's all relationships really. Even though the relationships are more personal, where we reflect our, where we sort of relate to who we are through the other person, that happens through all our connections that we are close to and interactive with. The Mercury node, that's all about, communicating, making plans, having things in common, relating and connecting with those that are like-minded. And, with that combination going on there, this is going to be a great year for catching up with those or making new connections with those that you're feeling more in alignment with. You also have in the seventh the Mars energy, and Mars is it looks like the sun's in there, but it's not. It's actually at 0 degrees, so the way I could fit it in. So it's just Mercury node Mars in that seventh sector. But Mars is sort of saying, that can sort of make us a bit restless within in our relationships, especially within the marriages and situations, or it can actually bring on more activity, depending on what combinations. But in this chart, we actually have a really nice combination of Mars trine, and trine is a lovely soft aspect to Jupiter. So that brings out really good, fortunate, expansional growth and activity. A great year for productivity, a great year for moving forward. And with that Mercury node, this can be initiated through others as well, or connecting up into groups and teams with people. But with that Mars node, it's when I say great year for expansion and growth, it's like you're going to feel motivated, you're going to feel like really expanding, like growing your own skills, and you're going to find that it's going to be, with it being a blessed trine, it's just going to come to you with ease, expanding, growing, and really moving into the situation that you're wanting to be in. And with that Jupiter there in the 11th position, it's going to be, again, relative to expressing yourself out into the wider community. Again, friendships could be bringing you into new things, or communities, or working within teams. The 8th sector, you have the Sun, Saturn, Neptune combination, which is that Neptune still conjunct the Sun, sort of moving away from that now. But with that equinox chart, it's representing deep understandings, more openings to seeing more clearly, as in where there's been confusion or misunderstandings. There, this is a time where I feel clarity is going to really come out for you. And especially within the 8th, it's like you're not actually going to put up with situations where you're feeling confused or where you're feeling people are misguided. The 9th sector You have Uranus sitting there, and Uranus is, that's in the place of what you, where you have the sense of wanting to understand the wider world. It often relates to travel and activities of, outdoor activities, being, whatever gives you that sense of freedom. For some people, that's travel. For some people, that's, going out tramping or being at the beach. Uranus there, and Jupiter is actually making a semi-square to Uranus, and Jupiter's in your 11th. I think you could spontaneously travel, this year, and even last year you may have found you just make spontaneous decisions to go on trips. And Uranus, the ninth house often does actually relate to, jumping on a plane, or doing long distance travel. So with it being in your the Jupiter Uranus, which is like, yes, all of a sudden I can do that trip, or you had money come in that you weren't expecting. It's again, like I said, just want to spontaneously new growth or travel. But with it being in the 11th, it could be for like connecting up to do with work or teams, but I feel it's going to be more about going and visiting friends and connecting up to different new communities, and or even, if there's an interest in learning about new cultures. So let's have a look at your cards for this year ahead. I'm going to do a Celtic cross spread first, and then I'm going to look at the zodiac. The tarot gives a bit more insight. This is the astrology just gives you the feel, the energy for the year, and this is just one cycle of many cycles that we go through. You have your own birthday chart, your soul return to look at. When it's your birthday, you also, you have progressions and your own transits and your own personal chart as well. So, of course, these are general readings for collective Virgo out there that are watching. But you do get more detail from the tarot. And tarot reading is what I do. I don't really offer astrology readings anymore. I don't even have the program anymore. This is why I like to just do it the old school way, the way I learnt, all by hand and all by mathematical calculations. It gives me a feel for the astrology because I don't follow it as close like I used to. So if anyone wanting a reading with me, that's what it is. It's a tarot reading, and a lot of healing comes through those readings. If you are, wanting a reading with me, just go into the YouTube. In my description, you'll find my email, and you can flick me an email and we can organise it. I'm here in New Zealand, so we just have to organise the right times. Okay. So where's Saturn, Neptune here in the 8th? Okay, so the Devil's come up. This is just a card, and it's not really going to come up in the spread, so it's not really an issue. But I think it's because you have had this Saturn, Neptune sitting in your 8th. There may be some unconscious fears. Why am I feeling this? Or a little bit of anxiety and not even understanding why you're feeling it. I feel like that's going to ease off anyway. So it's not coming up for the spread, so it's not really really relevant to this next year ahead. It's really just saying this is what you've been going through a little bit, feeling a bit uncertain, anxious, sort of, worried about future productivity, worried about future security. Should I make this change in my career? Will I financially be provided for? And Virgo does consider those things very deeply. Okay. So this is a year of taking control. It's a year of taking control of your life, as in either being your own boss or just taking control of wherever you felt. I mean, Virgos are very organised, and sometimes they can feel sort of really annoyed with others that aren't, or really annoyed when things aren't running properly, because that's what they do. They're very good with order and creating, order out of chaos even. But they're really good at seeing how things should be done, really, especially in the workplace. It's the same as in life, you know, if they see an injustice or they see things aren't fair or how people should be doing things, they will definitely have something to say about it. But this is a sort of a year of, I'm not going to be squashed. If there's been like, if you felt a bit controlled by a boss or a relationship or a situation, be like, no, I'm taking the bull by the horns and going to really just do my thing where I'm in full control of my own situation. So let me get some more cards around that before I go on too much. And okay, no, that's absolutely what I was talking about. Yeah, so for your security, you know, for your home life, for your work life, for whatever is, you know, what you're really wanting, because it looks like you are wanting changes. You are sort of wanting things to be more orderly or organized. Now, when I say that, you know, some Virgos go, oh, I'm not a real Virgo, I don't, you know, keep everything tidy. It's not about keeping things tidy, it's about things being ordered. You know, you'll find there's a huge amount of Virgos that are accountants, you know, especially the men, because they think that way. They can think mathematically like that. They can just see how everything needs to fit in. They're very good researchers as well and extremely good with details. So they, you know, sometimes get lost in those details. But, you know, this is about sort of taking control of circumstances where it's like, well, if I'm in control of it, then I don't have to worry about those tedious little things. I can see how things are meant to be done. I can see how they're meant to be run, and I want to be in control. Now, that doesn't mean you're wanting to take control of a big company. You may just want to take control of your own personal environment or your working environment, or make it a bit more easier. You've got an ease card here. You've got a card of just quite contradictory to the card I'm looking at, which is like you've got the Page of Swords with the Page of Rods. And, you know, the Page of Swords is like, you know, this is exactly how it needs to be, and very, very sharp. The Page of Rods is like not really, you know, thinking, but just experiencing. It's like that place of Zen. It's that place of, I'm just trusting. I don't know quite where I'm going, but I'm just going to trust. So they, you know, you could be worrying, am I being foolish? Because it's not a foolish card. It's actually a trust card. But trying to take control of things in that way, or meaning, when I say control, trying to, you know, feeling uncertain or scared because you can't see the outcome, or you can't see how this is going to work out, or, you know, you're worried that by taking control and taking action that, you know, things may not work out. You know, it's actually saying here that things will work out because you've got the top security card here, the card I call paying your mortgage off, feeling like you can now retire, feeling like now you can relax, you've got your security behind you, and you can now do what you're really wanting to do. So again, this is all about taking control of your life to give you more space so that you're not feeling controlled, squashed, demanded on by others, and especially in the workplace. A really good year of travel for you guys. You've got the World card and the travel card over it. Places you haven't been before. It's going to be a great experience this year for you to travel to different places you haven't been before. We have, with these two cards here, this is air travel and the World card, and, you know, this is sort of quite culturally different, this card with the World, but it's also like, it's also relating to, again, when I was talking about my retirement, or going, yay, I've got more free time, I've come to the end of the cycle, I've worked hard, now I can sit back and reap the rewards. And yes, you can sit back and reap the rewards as long as, you know, you trust, and as long as you take control of your circumstances, and, you know, don't feel like you have to be, you know, service to others is the key words for Virgo, but this is all about service to self and what is right for you. And I think this is a time where you're really going to be focusing on that. There's really nice energy around Virgo to do with communication, connections, even new relationships could even come in around Virgo, and also new opportunities for new career changes or more leadership roles here. So opportunities and things that are presented to you, they seem to be you know, ordained. They seem to be something that's come to you because you have actually asked for it. You have actually said, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I want a new opportunity, or I just want to be doing this with my day. It's actually happening. The things you've been asking for are starting to come in. And, you know, again, this is a time to not only take control of things more, but also this is your leadership skills coming out here. So there's a sort of heart opening, there's more self-love, there's more feeling like you can express yourself and express yourself more clearly. And again, you've got the Mercury node there, in the 7th, and this is in relationship to others and communication and relationships, but it's also the South node. It's like this is actually who you truly are. Your true self is just being completely straight up, completely honest, and letting it just flow through you, and really expressing who you are in a very loving and caring way. Any Virgos that are concerned about environments around them, or things that are, I don't know, it's like misunderstandings or frustrations with people and situations. It's more about healing the emotions, but this isn't to do with you, it's more to do with your environment around you. So you may find that you're feeling or reaching out to others that you feel are in need, but you also may feel like some situations you're wanting to clear or sort out or relieve any frustrations around. So this is just an unnecessary worry card here, but it's also sort of feeling like, oh, well, that didn't work out. So disappointments, that is really the word I was looking for. Any disappointments in the past with people, with situations, it feels like, you know, try to release them in your own way, because this is coming from your emotional state. It's not coming from anything else but your emotions. That you could be picking up on other people's emotions, but dealing with your own emotions, clearing that and seeing a different perspective, meaning seeing another angle, or sometimes we see the negative. It's about seeing the positive in others as well, which I think can actually help to clear any situations from repeating, because if we see certain things in certain lights, we keep drawing that to us, or if we're trying to understand certain things or certain disappointments, we keep drawing again the same experience. So you are really setting yourself up for next year, as in next year is a year where there's more freedom, more opportunity to expand and grow is coming in for you. But up to this time for this year is actually where you're getting the new ideas and new inspirations. Yes, I want to do this for a career. Yes, I want to connect up with this relationship. You're going through life changes, and you're going, like I said, this is going to be a very enjoyable year. Travel looks like it's a great time, but if it's not travel, it's about doing what you love to do and finding you have more time to do it. So let's have a look at sometimes I zone out, the zodiac wheel, and see what's in store for you for this year, for the year ahead, through the zodiac wheel. See if I can get any more information. Oops. Okay. So April is a month of change. It's where, if you're wanting anything to end, anything you're wanting to let go of, anything you're wanting to sort out, it's the time for that. You may be, making changes in home, career, but this is definitely the ending. And then we have two aces come up, the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands, bringing in the new cycle, the new beginning. Just gave it 13 zodiac then. Some people believe there was a 13th sign. Wouldn't surprise me. There was 13 months. Okay, but we're just dealing with 12 at the moment until we actually know what that would be. All right. So a year of where things are going to be more easier, more peaceful actually, and a lot more productive. Things are going to be more stable for you, or feel more stable. When I say stable, stable is it's really a mentality, but this is about feeling the stability, whether it's in your career or home life. So it looks like, you know, it's a busy year for work as you're preparing for changes, and as you're preparing for, like I said, sort of stepping up, utilizing a lot more of your own personal energy in your workspace, and being more, you know, feeling like you're more in control of your workspace. And with that Rod's card that you've got going on here, it feels like, yeah, this is about taking action, especially where you can see the financial benefits from the changes, but not so much about finances. It's like you're doing what makes you feel good, you're going to generate more. Yes, it's again, you know, in this financial sector, it could be a year of getting your mortgage, you know, paid off, or borrowing or buying property, but it looks like loans or anything around money coming in is really productive. So there could be an increase, like you may get a promotion, and whatever changes you're making in your career, as I've been picking up, is again showing financial, yeah, more money coming in, financial growth. So there's these new plans and new ideas coming in for you, especially around property. You've got a lot going on here around plans, ideas. Some could be looking at building property. Some could be looking at expanding on what they have as far as their security. And you know, there will be a feeling of wanting to do a lot more in the home or outside. With the Ace of Rods, it sort of can relate to building, also sort of relates to, you know, getting any sort of physical work, which a lot of that can be, like I said, outdoors. There could be a trip in sorry, June. I was going to say May, but no, June. I think June or July, you could be looking at making a trip overseas. And again, it could be somewhere, you know, it's like you could be wanting to go somewhere different, or if it's not somewhere different, you just want to check out things more and have a really good look around. Any difficulties going on around family or children, or even with your own personal expression, it's like this is a time where you are going to feel like, no, I'm just going to not tolerate things. With this card here, sort of relates to, this is in the fifth sector, so it does relate to our children, but it's also can feel like, you know, sometimes we have to need to say what we need to say, or sometimes we need to tell people what is not appropriate to say, if you like. So it's like this communication and this understanding, really good, you know, sort of time to sort of take more control if you've been feeling like things are getting out of hand a little bit within, more, not so much to do with you as much to do with what goes on around you within your environment. Sorry. Oops. Sorry, you might realise by now I don't edit, because I just don't. And yeah, so that's not getting edited out. So 2, 5, 6. So your work environment, yeah, great. The magician in your work environment, this is where you are the creator of your own destiny, and you can manifest what you want. Now, this card relates to bringing all your skills together. We have earth, air, fire, and water sitting there on the table, and the magician's got his hand up, and he's, you know, the alchemist, and, you know, making things happen. So I see this as our 4 different skills, and so what's it saying is that you're multi-skilled. You might, yes, I might specialize in this, and Virgos tend to specialize in certain areas because they're so good with detail, but it's sort of saying that you have lots of skills, and this is going to be an opportunity to utilize more of your other skills this year, and again, you know, creating more of your own thing. Could be again, a part-time business that you want to set up from home, with this rods here sitting in the home environment. Let's see what's opposite. Opposite that seems to be a decision that you could waver on. Some Virgos, if you've got Mercury there in Leo, Libra, not Leo, but Libra, you know, they could waver with decisions. Is this the right thing? Is it, you know, it can be quite hard to really know. And this, as I see, is like the Libra card, trying to weigh everything up, trying to look at what should I try? Should I stay? Should I go? Should I make a change? It's also saying that the universe, it's beautiful angelic card, and it has lots of meanings. But within this opposite, the magician, I feel like this is all about Yes, the universe is encouraging you to do something and read the signs, because Virgos are very tuned into their intuition, but they are ruled by Mercury, which does make them overthink things, which is really the enemy of the intuition. So again, relationships, you couldn't have a better card for a relationship. This is all about joining, connecting, sharing. So, you know, if you're not in a relationship, it could be like connections or friendships around you. Something new could be resurfacing, an old relationship could resurface, or just, you know, a time to really share and really recognize who you're in alignment with. It's going to be a year where I think you're going to trust a bit more. I think you're letting go of certain things. You're feeling this energy. When I say letting go of worries, or, you know, being overly concerned with change. It's like, with all this new energy, change is actually driving this whole reading. It's driving, and it's coming through your ideas. And again, I feel like, you know, your ideas around June, around this time of travel, this time when you're in this space where you feel free, could be a time where you really decide, right, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I feel really good about. Because for Virgo, this is a lot about following your heart this year. So there is money for travel, there's money for new growth, and there's also money for any business setups that you're wanting to do. So for Virgo, I think, even though we've talked a lot about new ideas and security and productivity and money's going to be fine, there's a sense of you're not going to make decisions based on money. You're going to be more clear about, actually, where do I see myself in 2 years? I want to be having the lifestyle I want. I've got to do the right things for me. So, you know, it's important for Virgo to be mindful of how stress levels can affect their health, how trying to achieve the goal too quickly can affect their health. It's like, what is, you know, it's, you know, the service to their career, the service to others, but what about the service to self? What about what makes you feel good inside? And for Virgo, you know, esoterically, the Virgo Pisces axis is all about the healer. It's all about offering the service to humanity and helping others, and that's where true fulfillment lies. So within this journey of your life, being there around others, around communities, around helping others, and more in a personable way, is going to be extremely rewarding and fulfilling. And you may find, like, wow, this is actually the area that I'm interested in. With the hangman there, you know, it could be health. You might go, I really want to learn more about, you know, people's health, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, you know, or it could be of a more practical nature. But whatever it is, you want to feel like you're making a difference, or doing a bit more than what you've been doing. So I quite like the fact you've got temperance in the 12th sector, because with that, it's like, normally, like I said, Virgos could waver and be indecisive, make a decision, and then feel like they've got to keep making that decision or going over it. But in the 12th, I don't think you're going to get to play with it the same. It would be different if it was in your 1st or 4th or 7th or even 10th. But with it in the 12th, it's one that you can't quite reach that. It's just like, just, you know, I'll just sleep on it, and then you might have a dream that actually, you know, gives you the answers. I think this is a year of going a bit deeper into you and what your desires are, because, you know, again, you really are finding your passion, finding what you really is going to make your heart sing, and wanting to go into that certain area. You know, and the other thing is animals of Virgo, because, you know, Virgo sector rules generally small animals, not like farm animals, but smaller animals that need a lot of care. And it's you know, like, that could be your thing. You could go, you know, so when I say nurturing and taking care, that could be relative to people or animals. But, you know, you may find that you are actually reaching out to others a lot more with having the Two of Cups in your 11th sector. Means that special relationships and friendships are going to be really quite important this year. But also, again, relationships that come from friendships could change your life in a big way. So it could be a really interesting year for Virgo, and I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you again. Bye.